Adi Shola from Nigeria. We have Suraya Muhammad joining from Ghana. That's actually very cool. And we also have Jude from Lagos, Nigeria. And we have David from Jos. We have Lekan Babs from Lagos. Let's keep it coming. We have Adesiji Victoria Timitokwe from Nigeria. We have Omotile from Abuja, Nigeria. Let's keep it coming. Let's keep it coming. We have Tony from Lagos. We have Ejiki from Abuja. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, guys. We have people from United Kingdom. We have, wow. Wow, this is great. This is great. We have Ghanaians here and we have a whole lot of Nigerians. Okay. Thank you very much for your feedback, for sharing your name and where you are joining us from. We have Kolawale Aderinde from Abeokuta. We have Olumide from Ibadan. We have Ima joining from Helsinki. Helsinki. Wow. Thank you. This is the first time I'm hearing this country. Wow. That's a very wonderful place. So we have Temilola joining from Nigeria. We have Uma joining from UK. Wow. Thank you for joining us today. And who else is clicking the link? Who is clicking the link? Where are you joining us from? From UK. Okay. So we are going to be going to the next page. So this page is how has been the section so far? Has the section be good, not good, bad, satisfactory, very good? So just rate how the sections have been so far. So you can just use the rating from your side. Just rate us. I'm waiting for your vote. Okay, good. So right now the vote is even. So we have good. The section has been good. Yes. So let's vote. Let's vote. Let's vote.
I need to be honest with you.
Okay. So you
But
can
what
mute.
I know is that I've told you that.
Okay. So you can keep voting. You can keep voting. Our section has been good. So we have 4.2. Good. Good. Our section has been good. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So we are going to try our best because we are looking at to be very good. We want our section to be very good so far. So at least since we are getting a vote for good, we are going to work on our sections to make it better. So thank you very much for your vote. Thank you for your vote. Thank you for your vote. So at least we have a whole lot of votes. So you can keep voting because this will actually tell us how our section has been so far. So we're just trying to get your feedback live. How has our section been so far? So just one person said bad. We have two people saying satisfactory. So let's just keep voting. So the next on our agenda is we're going to still go next. So now, what is your expectation for this class? So kindly type your expectation for this class, please. What you expect to gain for this class so that I can see your expectations and work towards meeting up with your expectations. So you can just put on the chat, what is your expectation for this class? So what's your expectation for this class, please? What's your expectation? I've not seen any write-up. I want to see, like, I want to know more about security. I want to understand the hands-on. I want to be able to like get more comfortable with Entra ID. Wow, this is nice. Get more comfortable with Entra ID environment and services. Cool. I am analyst. Perfect. That's nice. Let's keep it coming. Your expectation for this class. Somebody is expecting to be an identity and access management analyst. That's nice. That's nice. By the grace of God, we're going to see how we can align this expectation with the class that we are going to have today. So you can keep more coming, keep more coming. Those of you that are just joining, there's a link on the chat that you can click to access this portal so you can vote. Let me drop it. Let me drop it. So I want to see more expectations coming, more expectations. So someone said, I want to get more comfortable with Entra ID. Someone said identity and access management. So we are just using this to buy time before we get more people to join the call. So you can just share on the chat. You can share on the chat that section I've started to help me prepare for SC-900 and SC-300. Wow, that's actually a nice one. I'm sure that the expectation to get you prepared for SC-900 has already been met because our amazing speakers has actually been doing a very fantastic job so far in the likes of Okwayemi Stephen, Emmanuel Itoje, Oladele Saures. They have been doing amazingly well. Yeah. So someone said, I want to be well prepared for the certification exam. Perfect. That's a very good expectation. And by the special grace of God, you are going to be well grounded and prepared to be fully equipped and ready for this journey. Wow, that's nice. My end goal is to become a cloud security professional. So this is a good entry point, I believe. Yeah, a very good entry point to get a more understanding of cloud security. Wow, this is perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Don't worry, you get there. Clear, concise, and more insight, becoming a cloud security engineer. Wow, you are going to understand it very well. Perfect. I like to deep dive into cloud security engineer as the next phase of my career. XC900 has been solid for me so far to get started. I know more will come. Sure, more is coming because we're having another amazing section on XC300 that is going to teach you more on identity and access management. So we also have David Fajui joining from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you, David. I want to understand the practical aspect of IAM and be able to solve real-world problems. Yes, you're going to be able to solve real-world problems with identity and access management. We are going to be showing you how you can do all that. Then get familiar with practicals and more into cloud security. To be very experienced in Microsoft technology and tap from the mentor's experience. Wow, I think I can guess who wrote this. I can guess who wrote this. So let me just let me not say the person's name, but I know who wrote this to be very experienced in Microsoft technologies. Okay, we have to strengthen my cloud security skill. This is good, this is good, this is good. Yeah, yeah, okay. Let's go to the next. So the next noun is rate your learning so far. How has your learning been? Has it been 100%? Has it been 90%? Has it been 80%? Has it been 70%? So rate your learning, rate your learning. It's time to rate your learning. Wow, 100%. That's nice, that's nice. Okay, 90. Okay, so we have 80 and 90 leading. So we need more votes. Let's vote, let's vote. Okay, 80 leading. Wow, okay, 100 again. Okay, you can keep it coming, keep it coming. You're learning so far. Rate your learning so far. Okay, 80, 80. Wow, we have a whole lot of work to do. Okay, because we want you guys to be 100%. Yeah, but although 80 is still excellent. So anybody that is 80 is still good. Is still good. But we'll see how we can try to get you guys 100% ready to get into the job market. Yeah. Okay. So far so good. Our learning experience has been 80%. 80% so far. Okay. That's nice. That's nice. I buy the idea. I buy the idea. I buy the idea. Okay, 80% is okay. So we have 7 for 80%. Let me check how many. So we have 5 people. 5 people picked 100%. So 5 people, their learning so far has been 100%. Then 2 people, 90%. Then we have 7 people, 80%. Then we have just 3 people, 70%. So those of you that you're learning so far has been 70%. Don't worry. You are going to understand what cloud security is all about and how to apply them in real life by the grace of God. So thank you very much. So we are going to stop this pool. So I've seen your expectations, and we are going to try our best to ensure that we meet up with this expectation. My heart and mind is set to learn. Perfect. Perfect. My end goal is to be able to land a role of a cloud security analyst and also perform well in my next 900 exam. This expectation is already done. It's already done by the grace of God. Because so many years ago, me too, I have the same expectation to in a role as a cloud security engineer, and God did it for me. And the same God that did it for me is going to do it for you. You're going to land a more better job, like a more like sophisticated cloud security engineering job by the grace of God. God will do it. So the next one is get more knowledge on the practical aspect of things. Perfect. Okay. Thank you. I think we have bought a lot of time. We have bought a lot of time. We have given at least 8 minutes for people to join, the call. Okay. So this expectation, by the grace of God, we are going to try to meet all these expectations. At the end of this class, everybody we have their expectation met by the special grace of God. By the special grace of God. So I'm going to be starting. So let me just stop sharing this screen because I'm going to end the slideshow. So let me just stop sharing, then end the slideshow. So let me share my slide so that we can just get started with our training. So I introduce myself and talk about what we do in the community. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I'll be sharing the slide. So once again, I want to welcome everyone to the Microsoft Naija Security Group Bootcamp. So this section is actually to build the next generation of cloud security soldiers, NextGen Army. So I welcome you guys to this great camp where we all are going to learn and experience a lot. So we have our amazing organizers, Emmanuel Itoje, Haladu Abdullahi, myself, Steve Osonuga, and we have our mentors. I'm sure we are familiar with Emmanuel Itoje. We are familiar with Okwayemi Stephen, but Haladu Abdullahi is going to come. He's going to take us on our class on and our classes. He's also the co-lead of the bootcamp. We have Chinky, Ojiji, we have Chukudi, Ekechuku. So all these mentors, Chidima, Elvis, and Nonso, they are going to feature in one way or the other during the bootcamp. So we have amazing mentors coming up. Although the dates, we are going to update the dates because the bootcamp is ending February, not January. So we're going to go to the next slide. So yesterday, I'm sure you guys met with my Oga at the top, Emmanuel Itoje. So he took us on the first part, and we're actually using the same slide. We're using the same slide. So he's our Microsoft MVP, he's the MCT community lead, he's a Microsoft certified educator and a technical architect. So he's a motivation to me. He's the co-lead of the Nigeria Microsoft Security User Group. So Emmanuel Itoje motivates me a lot. It motivates me a lot. So let me go to introduce myself. So this is me. My name is Oyimafu Emmanuel, and I thank everyone for wishing me happy birthday on my birthday. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. I'm a modern workplace solution engineer. I'm a cloud cybersecurity specialist. I'm a technical architect for M365 and Azure. I'm one of the co-lead for the Microsoft Nigeria Security User Group Training and Bootcamp. So this is just me. I have so many certifications, but if I said I should list all the certifications I have, I don't think this slide will be able to take it. Like I'll just full certifications all these places, and I don't want it to be as if like coming to like show my certifications, and same with Emmanuel also. Emmanuel has a lot of certification. But one thing I always tell myself is in starting your career, start from somewhere. When I started, I had no certifications. And when I started writing certifications, I failed. I failed a lot of certifications. I remember when I wrote AZ-900, I passed it. Then I wrote PL-900. I failed the first time. I wrote it the second time. I failed. I wrote DP-900. I failed. So failure is part of success. I failed to the extent that I was even telling myself that, are you sure Microsoft is for me? It's like I should even stop anything relating to Microsoft and focus on other things. But see me today. Like if I had quitted that time, I won't be here today. Maybe I would have been somewhere else, like maybe doing some other things. But because I endured and I believed in God, that God is going to help me, and God helped me, at least I'm here today. So thank you very much. Thank you. So we are going to continue with the remaining parts. So now, our approach. So those of us that are joining, we all know that we encourage interactive and engaging section. So we believe that we want to make the environment conducive for everybody. So that's part of our aim, to make the environment conducive, open communications. So if you want to talk, kindly raise your hands up and I'll give you the opportunity to talk and ask your question. So we have question and answer. So there will always be question and answer time where you give your feedback and everything. We'll take the feedback and we'll work on it. So we need you to apply a growth mindset. Because the truth is, one of the things I would like to leave every one of us with is let's adapt a culture of learning. Learning never ends. You see me today, I learn. Like you learn as if you don't know anything. Learn as if you don't know anything. Learn as if you don't even have any idea of what you want to learn. And like somebody said, open mind, open heart. Have an open mind to learn. So if you are not muted, please mute yourself. Mute yourself. If you are joining the call, please kindly mute your mic. Kindly mute your mic. So no spoon feeding. So when we say no spoon feeding, it doesn't mean that you can't ask us questions. You can ask us questions, but what we're just trying to say is that we are raising the next generation of cyber soldiers. So we want everyone to be able to take responsibility. Go online, make research. If you have made research and you are finding it difficult to understand the research you have made, then you can come back and ask questions. So today we are looking at the labs. So yesterday, Emmanuel Itoje talked about setting up your Microsoft 365 tenants. So he talked about setting up your Microsoft 365 tenants, and he talked about the functions and identity types of Microsoft Entra ID. So today I'm going to break down everything in such a way that at least it will be easier. Like I'm coming to continue from where Emmanuel stopped and make it very, very interesting. Like at least just like the way he made his own interesting yesterday, I will make today's section also very interesting. So we are going to be talking about all this, describing identity production and governance capabilities. So my advice is after the section, let's ask our questions because if I say I should entertain questions now, I may not be able to cover a whole lot of things that I'm supposed to cover. So the best is let us hold on. Then after maybe because I have some hands raised up now, like I have AGK. So AGK hands is raised up. So AGK, so you can ask your question while we continue with while we go into the training proper.
Good afternoon or good evening. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so continuing from where he stopped yesterday, right? I've been struggling to get the free account. I managed to get a card that worked from Nigeria, but on the first lab, that is enabling auditing, I got this error. I'm trying to post it to the chats about, let me just read it. It said it's currently not allowed in your organization. To run this command, you first need to run the command enable organization customizations. That is to enable auditing. That's the first error I got. So I wanted to know
Okay.
if
Okay, that's a perfect way of learning. I love that. I love the fact that you tried. So for you to enable auditing, you can do it from PowerShell. Please, you can mute your mic. So if you are just joining the call, you can mute your mic. So to enable auditing, you need to first of all set organization customization. So to set organization customization, okay, so let me
You are muted though. Can you unmute yourself, please?
Okay, so I want to mute everybody. So please, if you're asking any question, kindly, if you want to ask any question, raise your hands. Then once you raise your hands, we'll be able to answer your questions. So like the question AGK asked, you want to enable auditing, and he got an error that you need to enable organization customization. So to enable an organization customization, you need to use Exchange Online PowerShell to do that. So to use Exchange Online PowerShell, first, you need to install Exchange Online module on your system. So after installing Exchange Online module on your system, then you run the command enable organization PowerShell. You can set it true for the entire organization. Then once you set it true for the entire organization, everything as in you will be able to set it. So let me look for a link that you can follow to enable organization customization and drop on the chat. So it will just guide you. So let me just drop it. So I'm dropping the link on the chat. So you can just use it to enable organization customization. Just follow the steps. And if you have any issue in following the steps, you can always reach out to us on the group. We are there to assist and help you meet up. So basically, I want to share my screen again. So let me share my screen. So this time I want to start. So I want every one of us here today to be able to understand an ideal Microsoft Entra architecture. Everybody will, at the end of this class, will understand the way Microsoft Entra architecture works. So let's look at this. So if you are signing into an environment, if you come to any of your browser here, so let's say this is the first time I want to sign in, I can just come to office.com. So once you click office.com, it opens. If you are not muted, please kindly mute your mic. Mute your mic, please. So let me see if I can mute everybody coming.
I think it's from Ajayi Kayode.
Okay. So let me mute everybody. Okay. Okay. So if you want to talk, you can raise your hand. So I'll enable your mic and you can ask your question. So thank you. So this is where you come to if you go to office.com. Although Microsoft has enabled Copilot everywhere. So if you go to office.com, formally you won't see Copilot like this. You will see your apps, you will see some features here. But now in office.com, this is what you see. Then from office.com, if you click on apps, you are going to see the apps that is available for your subscription. But the major concern of every admin, because we all here are going to, not are going to be, we are all IT admins. As I speak to you now, see yourself as an IT admin. So as an IT admin, your concern is admin. So once you click on admin here, it takes you to Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Let's not forget. So the first thing you do, if you want to sign in to access the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, you go to your browser, any browser of your choice, you go to office.com. Office.com. So from office.com, it takes you to the Microsoft 365 page. It didn't ask me to sign in. Why? Because I've already signed into this browser. If I have not signed into this browser, there's no way it will ask me to provide my username and password. So if you come to the admin center now, you are going to see different parts here. So you will see users. So under users, you have active users, you have contact, you have guests, you have deleted users. Then under group, you have active teams and group, you have policy, you have deleted group, and you have shared mailbox. Then if you come to billing, so this is where the financial aspect of your subscription comes in. So I'm going to show us something here. If I come to licenses now, we're going to see the licenses that is available in this tenant. So let's wait for it to load. Okay, so these are the licenses that is available. We have Microsoft 365 E5, no teams. So 20 but 0 is available. So we have Microsoft Power Apps Developer and we have Microsoft Teams Enterprise. So all these are used. So some of us that have set up a Microsoft 365 Business Basic subscription, what you need to do is, if you come here, you are going to see it. So you are going to see trial. So before the trial period elapses, if you know you are not ready to commit to payment, kindly cancel the subscription. Cancel the subscription, because if you don't cancel it, you are going to be debited. So kindly cancel the subscription if you know that you are not ready to commit to Microsoft payments plans. So you can just cancel the subscription. But the whole essence of the 30 days is so that you can practice and you can learn. You can learn. So if you can't see my screen, okay, I should change the screen resolution. Okay, let me just increase it. Okay, I believe it's better now. So this is it. So this is licenses and this is billing. So from here now, remember, if you log into the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, you have your users that shows you your active users, contact, guest users, and deleted users. And we have active teams, we have policies, we have deleted users, and we have shared mailbox. So let's look at something here. So if I click on active users, we are going to see different users here. And all these users, they are all members of the organization. We have Cameron White, we have Christy Clean, we have Ruth Adams, and many other users. So if I come to active teams and group now, we are going to see different teams and group that exist in the organization. We have all company. So this all company now, basically every member of the organization belongs to the all company group. So this all company, as the name implies, all company, meaning that every member of the organization belongs to this group. So if we come to digital initiative and public relations, this is also a group, more or less like a department in an organization. So I want to show us something real quick on how we can understand how an organization work and how all these things are being architected. So let me just go to my visual. So let me bring it here. So I'm going to be using a little illustration to explain how all these things work so that we'll understand. So let's say this is, so I don't know the name of company I'm going to use. Who is going to suggest the name of company that we should use? Can you suggest anybody suggesting the name of organization that we should use? Anybody suggesting? Because I want us to understand how all these things work so that it will be easier for us to get the concept faster. So we should use CEO Fulltech. Okay, let's use it. Let's say this company is, somebody suggested that we use, okay, should we use the class enterprise? Let's use the class enterprise. Okay. So now the name of this company is the class enterprise. So this the class enterprise now, let's say is in, let's say, which location will we say the class enterprise is now? Let's say the class enterprise is in Lagos, or let's say Lagos. So this is an organization. So let's just see this as an architectural diagram. You know, in an organization, we have the reception. So let me bring this here. Let's say this is the reception. Okay, let me use rectangle. I think it will be easier. Let's say this is the reception. Like if somebody come into the organization, he have access to the reception. So let's call this place reception. So this is the reception in the organization. Then aside the reception, we have different departments. Like we have HR. So let's just call this HR department. HR department. Then aside HR departments, let's see, we have other units. Let's call, who can suggest other units? Okay, sales. Sales is actually very important because they are the people that bring money to organizations. So let me put sales. So more units can be coming to the chat. Sales. So I'm trying to drive at something. So we have IT department. Wow, IT department. Okay, IT should be here because IT department, let's say IT department. Okay, let me bring this to represent IT. Let me see IT is here. So let's suggest more units aside IT department, accounting. Wow, that's nice. So we are going to understand how Entra ID work in like we are trying to explain how it works. So let's just see it. So we have IT department. So aside IT department, we have other departments like account. Account is also very important. Accounting department. So we just select accounting. So let me use this accounting department. Okay, accounting. Then which other departments? The last one we're going to procurement. Let's use procurement. So let me put procurement here. Procurement department. Okay. Procurement. So this is procurement department. So now this is this organization. Let's see this organization as a building. If a customer comes to the office, the customer comes to the reception. Then once the customer comes to the reception, if he wants to see the sales executives, then from the reception, the customer will be directed to the sales executive office. Or if the customer wants to see those in procurement, the customer will be directed to those in procurement. So this is a building, more or less like this is room one, this is room one for the HR, this is room two for the accounting department, this is room three for IT department, this is room four for procurement, this is room five for sales. So here now we have users in each of these rooms. So let me users. So let's just give it time to search for users, give us user symbols. So we have users. So let me use this one. This one will be more relatable. So let me just reduce the size. So we have a okay. We have a user here. So in the reception, let's say we have one person working in the reception. So let me rename this guy. Let me see. The receptioning is, let's say, let me say Ajoke. Ajoke is the receptionist, and Ajoke is the one here managing the reception. She's the only one in this reception here. Then for sales, let's say we have different people in sales. Like let's say we have like let's say we have another person here. Let's say we have Oluchi. And also we have, let's say we have Janet. Because ladies are always in sales. So they are the people that they always like to use in sales department. So let's just say here now, we now have one guy. Let's say we have Daniel. Daniel is also a member of the sales team. Then aside Daniel, we have other unit like procurement. Let's say procurement now. I may not be able to specify names for all these units, but I just want us to get something from all these concepts I'm trying to paint. So let me just put them. We have different users here in different departments. We have them here. We have them here. Then we have them here. We have them here. We have them here. And we also have them in the HR department. Although HR, are not always much. Let's just put 2 users in HR. Then IT should be more because IT always have issues. So let's put more people in IT here. So now this is the entire department. So yesterday, Emmanuel Itoje taught us how to create users. So all these users, there's one thing that is associated with a user. And what is associated with a user is an account, email, and password. So Ajoke has an email and password. So to assign for a user to have an email and password, it means that the user account must be created in Entra ID or Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So Ajoke is associated with a username. Like the username can be Ajoke at theclass.com. So this is their primary domain name now. And this is her username, Ajoke, right? So let me reduce the size. Let me make it 6. So this is her username. Then aside her username, she will have a password. Password will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But it's not best practice to use this kind of password. But I'm just explaining. So Ajoke has a username and password. So this username and password now, ask me, what will Ajoke use it for? What will she use it for? So Ajoke need this username and password to be able to log into her system. So now that's where system comes in. So all these guys you see here, they need username and password so that they can be able to log into their system. Because once you get employed to an organization, they give you devices, they give you systems. If you are not provided with an account to log into that system, the system is useless because you need a username and password to be able to log in to that system. So let's bring system now here. So let's bring a system, let's say computer. So let's bring this computer here. So this computer now, the computer is associated with Ajoke. So she's the owner of this computer. So I want to create a shape. So now this computer is for her. So as it is like this, she can log into this computer and do what she wants to do. So let me point it to her. So this is a computer. So this computer now belongs to her. So what does she use here? So what she uses in this computer is, mainly computer is more or less like what you use to access company resources. So what are example of things that she needs to access in this computer? She needs to access a browser, just like the one I used to sign into office.com browsers. Example of browser, Chrome. Then Firefox. Then after Firefox, we have Microsoft Edge. So these are browsers that she needs to sign into. So let me reduce the font size so that it will be better. Or let me increase it. So these are the browsers she used. She used Chrome, Firefox, Microsoft Edge. Then this application now is installed on this system. Normally systems, you install Chrome, you install Firefox on it. You even install Adobe Reader so that they can be able to read documents also. Then aside that, the most important thing that you install on a system to enable the user productive is Microsoft 365. So let me see if we have M365 here. M365, okay, no match for M365. Let's just say the next one you install is Microsoft 365 applications. And we all know that Microsoft 365 application comes in desktop, and mobile. So Microsoft 365 application comes in both desktop and mobile applications. So this user now, an example of Microsoft 365 application, let me explain them because it might look like, okay, what is even Microsoft 365 applications? Teams. Teams is an example of Microsoft 365 application. Word, Excel. Then what else? OneDrive. Then we have SharePoint. Then we have, show that one again, is very important, Visio. So all these are applications that the user needs to install. And for the user to make use of these applications, they need to sign in. So Ajoke needs username and password so that she can sign into Teams, Word, Excel, and OneDrive from her system. So that is where device comes in. Because with Microsoft Entra ID, you can use Microsoft Entra ID to manage users, and you can use it to manage the device they log into, just like the way we have this one here. So let me do something. Let me reduce the size to something better. So we can sign into so Microsoft Entra ID is used for device management, devices, and also users. So the next thing we use Microsoft Entra ID for is groups. So let me explain the concept of groups and how group work. So let's say, for instance, now for group, the way group work, we see this organization. We have reception, we have sales, we have procurement, we have IT department, we have accounting, and we have HR. These two people, they are in the same department. So because they are in the same department, they can belong to one group. Because why do you need them to belong to one group? Let's take, for instance, now, you want to, one of the advantages of group is that it is used to assign permissions. Group is used to assign permissions. Let's say, for instance, now you want to assign permissions to the HR department. It is best practice you use a group to assign those permissions. Because if you are assigning the permission individually, let's tell ourselves the truth, we are humans, we will forget. we will forget. So that is why we need groups. We need to group all our departments into group. Just like here now, the combination of these two users forms a group. Let's say this HR, this person is Temitope. Temitope. Then let's say this other person here is, let's say, Alex. So the combination of Alex and Temitope is what forms a group. So a group is just a group of people in the same department. You can have IT users now. All of them, you can form a group and add them. That's just the concept of a group. The concept of a group is to help you simplify your management so that if you are assigning permission or you are assigning privilege, instead of you to assign it to one person, it's better you assign it to the group, because the same thing the permission you assign to this group, it will affect everybody. Let's say, for instance, now you have a policy, you want to create an example of, maybe you have licensing policy for sales. So licensing policy for sales now, you can see, okay, you want to assign it to sales department. And maybe you want to assign this policy to sales department, and you now see, okay, you want to come here and assign the policy to Temitope and assign the policy to Alex. It is not best practice. It is better you just assign the policy to sales group. So a group is the combination of users in a particular department. So that's a group. So Microsoft Entra ID is used to manage devices. Let's not forget devices. A device is a computer. An aside computer is not only limited to computer alone. You can also use it to manage your mobile phones. Because most of us, we sign into Teams on our phone. You can also use Microsoft Entra ID to manage those phones also. So it's not only limited to only laptop. Because this Ajoke girl, you can't say a grown-up adult will not use a mobile phone. So she need a mobile phone. And as an organization, you need to manage that mobile phone, because you know that if you allow some people, like Opeyemi was explaining the other time, they can copy company assets out of the phone. That is why you need to manage this mobile phone with Microsoft Entra ID. So you can use Microsoft Entra ID to manage computers, mobile phones, users, groups. So, and also you can also use it to manage applications like all these browsers, and the applications I'm even talking about is enterprise applications, but we are going to look at it. So this is basically the architectural diagram of an organization. So any organization, most times this is how it is. Just like the way the architect will draw the plan, like, okay, this is the room, this is the kitchen, this is this is that. That's how organizations are. So the identity architect or the M365 architect will go sit down and design the organization. So by the time you have created all these groups and all, you can now start adding permission. Let's say, for instance, now you want to apply a policy to the entire users of the organization. That is where all company group comes in. You can create an all company group, and automatically every member of the organization belongs to that group. Then you can add them to that group. So perfect. So this is just the architectural diagram of Microsoft Entra ID. So let's go to our lab. Let's go to our environment, just like as I was explaining. So this is all of us now. We are signing into our admin center because we are all administrators by the grace of God. So if you come down now from here, this is what you will see if you go to Microsoft 365 Admin Center. But there's one shortcut I would like to show us. So if you click on this, if you add a tab here and you go to cmd.ms. So if you go to cmd.ms, it automatically shows you all the Microsoft Admin Centers. So the first one here is Microsoft Entra ID. The second one here is Microsoft Entra for GCC. We have Microsoft Entra ID, but you can see in bracket Azure Portal. We have Microsoft Entra ID. So you are going to see all the admin centers here, all the admin centers that you can specify. So if I want to go to Entra ID, I'll just click on Microsoft Entra. It takes me to Entra ID automatically without stress. So we'll just wait for it to load. And if I also want to go to another admin center, let's see like Microsoft 365 Admin Center. If I click on it, it also takes me to Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So this is more or less like a shortcut, cmd.mx. You can note it down, can write it somewhere, So That's just it, cmd.what.mx. So if I want to manage Microsoft 365 Defender, once I click on Microsoft 365 Defender, it takes me to Microsoft Defender Admin Center. So that is where it takes us to. So this is it. This is Microsoft Defender Admin Center. It brings us here. So today now, I'm actually going to continue from where Emmanuel stopped. And yesterday, let me go back to the lab. Let me look for the lab. I think he dropped it in the chat. So we are going to continue from where Emmanuel stopped. And Emmanuel stopped at self-service password reset yesterday. So I want us to think about something because we are cybersecurity engineers. So let me come back to my visual diagram so that I can explain what self-service password reset means before I come and show you guys in the Microsoft Entra Admin Center. So this is what self-service password reset is. So if I come back here now to this visual, let's say Ajoke. Maybe this Ajoke now, because she's a receptionist and she's not really too grounded with security. Maybe God forbid, her password got leaked. Maybe she clicked a link and her credential got leaked. And let's say one of the admin here is Emmanuel. Let's say Emmanuel is one of the admin. Okay, yeah. Let's say Emmanuel is one of the admin here, and we have other admins too. Let's say Peter is also here. Peter. Then let's see who else. Let's say Paul. Then let's see the next person here. Let's say Titi, because it's good you have a lady among them. So all these are the admin staffs here. So these are the admin staff. So this reception is Ajoke. Her password got leaked. Let me put it here. Password leaked. So a password got leaked. And when a password got leaked, there are several ways a password can be leaked. Maybe when you sign into unauthorized websites and they ask you to provide your credentials and you provide your credential, automatically your password will be leaked. Let's say, for instance, Ajoke's password has been leaked. So because Ajoke's password has been leaked, this is what will happen. The hacker will try to sign in with a username and password. So the hacker tries signing in with user name and password. So if the hacker is trying to sign in with username and password, what it means is that the person already has Ajoke's username and password. That is a risk. But the hacker will not be able to come into the organization. Why? Because of multi-factor authentication. So because of multi-factor authentication, here, multi-factor authentication. So who can tell me what multi-factor authentication is on the chat? Can you just tell me what you understand by multi-factor authentication on the chat? So what you understand by multi-factor authentication? Who can try? I'm on the chat. So multi-factor authentication, this is it now. So this is her password got leaked. So because her password got leaked, and hacker is trying to sign in with her username and password. And mind you, the person already has the password because she leaked her credential in an unauthorized website. So, but because of MFA, the hacker is unable to sign in because Ajoke will be receiving prompts. Okay, multi-factor authentication is used for multiple verification. Perfect. That's what multi-factor authentication method is. It's used for multiple verification. So because of MFA, Ajoke will be receiving points on her phone that provide this code if you are the one. Automatically, you know that Ajoke will be asking herself, but I'm not trying to sign into anything now. How come I'm receiving MFA prompts? It means that somebody in another place is trying to sign into Ajoke account. Let's get the story. Ajoke signed into a website that her credential was stolen because she didn't know. She mistakenly put her credential in that website. Then her credential was stolen. Because her credential was stolen, then her username and password is already known by the hacker. Automatically, the hacker is already guessing the username and password. The person is not guessing because the person already knows. Then when the person tries to sign in, remember, MFA is multi-factor authentication. Single factor authentication is just username and password. When somebody is trying to sign in with only username and password, that is single factor authentication. But multi-factor authentication is when you're trying to sign in and you put your username and password, and aside your username and password, they now say a code has been sent to your phone or a code has been sent to your authenticator app. So automatically, what that means is that that's multi-factor authentication. Let's not forget. So now, because of multi-factor authentication, Ajoke is receiving prompts. Please, like, are you the one? Try to sign in. Are you the one? Imagine maybe Ajoke, maybe for instance, sometimes multi-factor authentication, they can call you. Hello, this is Microsoft calling you from San Francisco. Are you the one trying to sign in? Press the pound key. And Ajoke just mistakenly press the pound key. Automatically, that hacker already have access to the environment. Sure, we understand. So in that case, when Ajoke is receiving that prompt, she now call Emmanuel. Emmanuel, somebody is trying to sign into my account. Oh, I'm receiving MFA prompt. Emmanuel say, Omo, this is weekend though. I'm very busy. I don't have time. I have bootcamp that I'm actually working on. Call Peter. Maybe you call Peter. That week is Peter's engagement. He's engaging his wife. Peter say, me, I no get chance. So he now call the next person, Paul. Paul say, I have a LinkedIn program. Please, later. It's weekend. I don't work weekend. And she called Titi. Titi say, I beg you, my mama call me. Do you know that all these things can happen? That is why self-service password reset is very important. What self-service password reset is more or less like when a user account has been compromised by a bad actor, that user can automatically reset his password by him or herself. Self-service password reset. The person resetting his or her password by him or herself. That is self-service password reset. So automatically the way it is, Ajoke don't need to tell Emmanuel. Emmanuel don't need to disturb Emmanuel for resetting password. Ajoke can reset her password by herself, but there are certain criteria Ajoke must meet, which I'm going to explain. So that is just a good scenario to explain what self-service password reset is. If, for instance, a user credentials has been stolen by the bad actors and somebody is trying to sign into the credential, but MFA is prompting the person. So automatically she knows that, it's not me, I beg you, you get. So in that case, she can just click on forgotten password and reset her password herself automatically without stress. So that's what self-service password reset is all about. So let's see how we can configure self-service password reset in Microsoft Entra ID. So let's come to Microsoft Entra ID now. So this is, where is that my browser again? Okay, I think it's here. Yes. So this is Microsoft Entra ID. One thing I like about Microsoft is Microsoft actually made their portal very simple. Like, it's very easy for everybody to understand. That's why I always tell people that you can do anything you want to do because Microsoft have documentations that you can follow. So from here now, let's just search for self-service password reset or password reset. Password reset. So we can see password reset here. So once we click on password reset, it takes us to self-service password reset page. So we can see here, self-service password reset page is set to SSPR security group users. Remember, I explained what security group is. You can use security group to assign permission to users. So this is SSPR security group, right? Let me open this group. Let me find out the users that are here. Do you know the advantage of groups? So let's say, for instance, now you don't want all users to be able to reset their password. You can just enable self-service password reset for specific number of users. You see where groups comes in. Just like in real life, you can group different people. You can group this one, group the other one, group everybody. Everybody will be grouped in different ways. Like in school, we have first class, we have second class, we have third class, and we have all. So that's the way it also works in Microsoft environment. Some groups, we have the management users. Like some organizations, they have management group, they have admin group, they have different groups that they use. So automatically, groups is important in this scenario. Let's say, for instance, now you want to assign self-service password reset policy to users in your organization. If you say, you can say all users, but it is not best practice. You select all users. It is not good because if you select all users, it means you are giving everybody the right, which is not best practice because you're supposed to exempt some people. for security reasons. Because as a security engineer, you have to think like a thief. You have to think like an hacker. Like the way they think like that. If you enable it to everybody now, what if something happened? That means it will affect everybody. So you need to be careful in making your decisions to exempt some people. So this is self-service. This is SSPL security group. So let me go and look for this group. You know what I'll do? I'll just right click on home here and open in a new tab so that I can always come here and check. So most times if you're working and you don't want to cancel what you are working on, you can just open a new tab on any of the tabs, then you get there and you do what you want to do. So from here now, we can see Microsoft Entra ID opened again in another page. So what I just need to do is to come to groups. If I come to groups here and I search for SSPR, I will see that group. So I'll just say SSPR. So we can see it here, SSPR security group. So once I open it, I'm going to see the users that are in this group. So if you open a group pane, this is what you will see. You will see properties, you will see members, you will see owner, you will see rules and administration, you will see administrative units, you will see all and all. So now, if you come here, you click on properties. So let's just click on everything one after the other. So you are going to see the type of group that the group is. So this group now, the group description is self-service password reset enabled users. So most times as an admin, the best is as you are creating a group, give it a description. Do you know why? You are not going to be the only one that will work in that organization. So make life easy for people that will come after you. Because if you give your group a description, the person coming after you will understand. Imagine maybe I'm an intern. I just come into the organization and I see SSPR security group and I've not heard of SSPR before in my life. I will be confused. Like, what does this person mean? Life hard, though. Which kind of life be this? You can even go online and check. You won't see the meaning. But if the person have provided a description, it will be easier. So as we get jobs, as we start working, please, anything you are creating, always add a description that will be easy for the person that is coming after you to understand so that life can be easy for everybody. So now the group description is self-service password reset enabled users. So automatically what this means is that anybody that is in this group have the privilege of resetting his or her password by him or her what? Herself. So now group type security. So we have different types of group. We have security group, we have M365 group, we have distribution group, and we have mail enabled security group. So depending on the group you want to create, so each group determines the type of group you want to create, determine what you want to do. If you want to create a group for collaboration, then you are going to create an M365 group. Why is an M365 group used for collaboration? Because it comes with Microsoft Teams. If you are creating an M365 groups, it doesn't just create a group, but it creates a team along with the group. And we all know that Teams is used for collaboration. So but security group is basically used for permissions. So we have membership type. So this membership type now, we have dynamic user and we have dynamic device. So what this means, this dynamic user now, if you create a group and you say assigned, what it means is that you'll be the one that will add the members to the group yourself. Assigned, like you are adding them yourself, you are assigning them to the group yourself. But if you say dynamic user, that means you can create a query. Like for instance, now to create a dynamic group, you can say, maybe I want to use procurement group. And you know that in an organization that is well structured, everybody have their departments. I'm in sales, I'm in marketing, I'm in dynamics, I'm in business application development. You can create a group that if this person equals this, the person should be added, which I'm going to create one now so that we'll see how dynamic user group works. So this is just the property of this group. So if I come to members, we are going to see the members here. So these are the members. We only have 3 people here: Bianca, Pisani, Raurazo, Sarah Perez. So these are the only people that can do SSPR in the organization. Yes, you don't just allow everybody to be able to do SSPR. So most times management need to even approve before you do all these things. Your management need to approve. You need to make sure you follow procedures, because as security engineers, you are not working alone. You are working with your management team. You are working with the entire organization. Because according to Emmanuel, when Emmanuel was teaching the first class he was taking, there are some policy you push and it will affect business. And if business is affected, it means that your job is at stake, because no organization wants to lose money because you are doing security. So that's why you need to be careful of what you do so that it don't go and affect users. By the time you go and enable self-service password reset for everybody now, and users begin to receive prompts to configure self-service password reset, and they lose a deal, they now tell the MD that I was trying to reply the customer and I was receiving prompt. Management will not take it lightly. Oh. So that is why before we do anything, we need to make sure that we reach out to the management and we follow best practice. It's not bad you even send an email and you get an approval first before you do anything. It's the best to save yourself from unnecessary troubles. So this is SSPR group. So if you want to add a member to this group now, because most times as admin, you create users, you add members to group. So from members tab, you click on add members. So once you click on add members, let's say there's a new user that the management has approved that you add to the group. All you just need to do, you select the user. If it's Adele Vance, you select Adele Vance. If it's Alex Weber, you select Alex Weber. Let's see something. All this, we have users, group, device, and enterprise application. So all these entities, you can add them to a group. You can even add an enterprise application to a group. You can add a device to a group. But here now we don't have any device. You can add a group to a group. You know, this is a group, SSPR group. You can add a group. Let's say, for instance, now, you know, here we have HR, we have finance, we have executive. So basically, all the members of this group are people that are in this department. Let's say, for instance, now, you wrote to the management that you want to enable SSPR, and the management say, enable it for legal, HR, and finance. You can just come here, inside this SSPR group, you add SGIT, you add legal, and you add finance. So once you click select and you click OK, automatically those groups will be added here. So if I refresh now, you will see SGIT is a group. You know, these are users. These are single users. But this time, I now added a group inside a group. So you can add a group inside a group. So what it means is that everybody, both this single user and everybody that is a member of this group, automatically will be able to do self-service password reset. So let's see how we can create a group, how we can create a dynamic group. So if I click on new here, and I go to, let's just wait for it to load, and I go to security group. So we have two types of security. We have two types of group you can create in Microsoft Entra ID, but these are not the only groups you can create. If you go to Exchange Admin Center, you will see other groups that you can create. Let's take notes. Let's take notes. So here now, we are creating a security group because we are not in Microsoft 365. We are security engineers. So let's focus on security. Let's say this group now is let's say procurement department, or let me say all users, all users, all users group. So if this group is all users group, now all users group, let me say description, every member of the organization. So basically now this group is every member of the organization group. So now Microsoft Entra role can be assigned to this group. So basically you see this option here. If you say yes, it means that you can assign a role to this group. Example of a role is global admin, security admin, exchange admin, SharePoint admin, compliance admin. Those are examples of a role that you can add to a group. So let's say, for instance, now you want to create a group, let's say compliance admin. Maybe in the compliance department, you have like 20 people there, and you don't want to be giving each of those 20 people compliance admin, compliance admin, compliance admin, compliance admin. You can create a group called compliance administrator role group. Then what you just need to do is to click on yes here. So once you click on yes, you can assign the admin role to the group. So if I click on yes now, you can select a role. You can see a role is here. That means I can select a role. But if I click on no, role disappear. If I click on yes, it gives me option to select a role. So if I click on no role, I'm going to see all the roles I can select, like AI admin. Let's say the person that we're employing is an AI administrator. We know what role-based access control is. It gives you opportunity to do just the work you are enabled to do. Role. base, access, control. So all of them work together. A role-based, they are giving you role-based access and control so that you won't do what you're not supposed to do. If I'm an AI admin now, I'm not supposed to have business with managing users in Entra ID. My business is just to manage Microsoft 365 Copilot and AI-related enterprise services in Microsoft 365. I'm not supposed to have anything to do with Entra ID. So that's just where role-based access control comes in. But this group we are creating, we are not actually going to assign a group, but as security engineers, take notes. You are going to create a group that you assign a role to, is what you will do. That's just it. So now let's say no. Then for owner, we have to, for membership type, this is where you select the membership type, either assign dynamic user or dynamic group. Let's say dynamic user. So for dynamic user now, it gives us option to add a query. So let me add a query, just like I was explaining the other time. So for query, in group creation, I can't find that option to assign role group. Okay, to assign role group, don't worry, we'll look at it after the section. Just hold on, you will share your screen, we'll check it together. So now, this is the query. So we have property here. For property here now, we have different things we can select. Display name, directory sync, city. Let's say, for instance, the department have users working in different city. We can select city, but right now, we want every member of the group to be added to this group. So we need to check. So now, we want to add all members of the group. So we need to say property equals user type. So if we say property equals user type, that means we are going to specify the type of user. So we'll say, let's say equals member. So you know that everybody that has account in Microsoft Entra ID is a member. So I'm saying user type equal member. So if I come here now to, let me open Entra ID on another tab so that I will show you why I select user type equals member. So it's more or less like I'm using a query so that anybody that is that the user type is member, it automatically add the person to that group. I don't need to stress myself and be adding them manually. So basically, what dynamic rule help you do is that it helps you automate adding users to a group. You don't need to stress yourself adding users to a group. Example of that, there are some organizations that their all company group are assigned. If new person join the organization, some of them will not be added to that group because the admin can forget. But if you are using dynamic query, automatically you don't need to forget. Once the person just joined the organization, automatically the person becomes a member of that group. So let's come to users so I can show everyone why I selected user type member. So we can see here we have user type, right? User type member. So it is common with everybody. So most times as administrators, you just look for what can I use? User type is common to everybody. Identities, this one is common to everybody, but user type is the best. So that was why I selected user type. Then I say user type equals member. So now that I've selected it, you can validate the rule. So this validation rule helps you to validate if the rule is actually correct. So let me add a user. Let me know if that rule is correct. Let me add Adele Vance, Alex Weber, Alan De Jong. Let me just add these three. So once I add them, it will rule. You see, that means my rule is correct. So if I save it, I've saved my query. Then I click on create. Automatically, once I create this group, it creates an all user group, meaning that all users in the organization belong to this group. So let me search for that group, all user. So all user group, if I click on it and go to members now, you see the members will populate without me adding them. Although you may not see, let's go to all members. It may not show now, but it will show. So let's refresh the page. So sometimes it can take time, but it will definitely show. So all members. So we'll just wait for a while, it will come. But that is how you use dynamic query to add members to a group. So now let's go back to SSPR, self-service password reset. So this self-service password reset now, it is not set to all, it is not set to none, it is set to selected users, meaning only SSPR security group users have the permission to do SSPR. So if I come to authentication method, we are going to see the authentication method that is set to be able to do self-service password reset. So we can see here now, number of authentication method required is only one, just one authentication method. If you say two, then you have to specify the second authentication method, but you can do one. So if we come to registration now, you can decide require user to register when signing in. So any user that you add to SSPR group, if you say require user to sign in, to require user to register when trying to sign in, when the person is trying to sign into his account, if you tell the user to register for self-service password reset, that was what I was saying the other time. Before you enable some things in your organization, you need to do training to the staffs so that they will even understand what it is. Not that they are trying to work and they can't work because they don't know what you have done and it's not affecting business. So that is why we need to be careful of what we do in our organization as admin. So number of days before users are asked to reconfirm their authentication information. So this number of days is very important. After 180 days, the user will be asked to reconfirm their authentication method again, meaning that it will not ask them to reconfirm if they own that device or they are still using that email. So this is just what you set up when you are doing self-service password reset. Once you come to password reset, you come to properties, you can choose to select the people you want to, the users you want to have access to self-service reset, and you can choose to add the authentication method. If you want, there are some companies that they are very strict. The authentication method is 3. Before you reset your password, you need to answer security questions. After answering security questions, you will now they will now want to know if you own the device that you are using. After that, they will now send you an email again to confirm that you are the one that want to reset that password. So those are security measures, but at the end of the day, if the person can be able to provide those information, the person can be able to reset password. So resetting password it's not like maybe they are just making it easy, because if they make it easy, it means that anybody can just go there, click on reset password and reset it. But this is just the lab of resetting password. So that is for this. So let me go to the next one so that I will just brush us through the other labs. So let me just open the lab so that we'll look at the other lab material while I will now show us some other areas. Okay, so I'm looking for the link to the labs. Okay, I found it. No, I've not found it. So let me check. So you can use the chat button to comment. Maybe if you have question, you can ask, but at the end of the section, there will be question and answer, and I can dedicate like 30 minutes for people to ask their question. I will stop the recording by that time so that at least we'll know that we are facing question and answer. We are facing question and answer. So I'm looking for the lab link. Where is it? Okay, somebody dropped it. Thank you very much. God bless you. God bless you. Okay, so let me open it. So I've opened the last lab link now. So we have done this one. Self-service password reset. We have done self-service password reset. So now let's look at conditional access policy. Conditional access policy. So let me go to the browser here. There's one particular image I love to use explaining conditional access policy. Conditional access policy. So one thing with IT, make your browser your friend. Nobody knows it all. We are all learning. Everybody make research. So everybody always check the internet for one thing or the other. So we are all learning. Everybody is learning, including me. We are all learning. We are all in the learning, in the learning. Like we're all in that learning also. So let me just put it here. So I want to use this to explain what conditional access policy is before we look at it from the lab. So I want us to use this one also. Copy. Then where's this guy? So this is it. So conditional access policy. Now let me give a scenario of conditional access policy, how it works. So conditional access policy is good because you can use conditional access policy to enforce multi-factor authentication for users. So now let me use this. Let me use a user. User. So let's wait for it to give us a user. So we are going to see what conditional access policy is. So this is Oluchi. So this person is Oluchi. So Oluchi is the MD of the company. And you know that most of those hackers, they target the MDs. It's the MDs that is their target because they know that if they have access to the MD, one more, that means they don't enter or they have gained big access. Because imagine the MD's account is hacked. Maybe Oluchi now, that is the MD, let's say her account is hacked. You know that the hacker can just send an email to the accountant. Hello, accountant, send this money to this so person. And the accountant will send because Oluchi is the MD. You understand? Like, and from all evidence, she will say, I received the email from Oluchi. Look at it. Is she not the one that sent it? So multi-factor authentication can help you prevent all those kind of unnecessary attacks. So let's say, for instance, you know there are some travel that is impossible travel. We have impossible travel. Let's say, for instance, you saw me in Yaba, you saw me in Lagos. Then after the next 2 minutes, I'm already in London. Is it possible? It's not possible. I can't be in London within 2 minutes. I can't be in London within 10 minutes. So conditional access policy can help you enforce authentication security. Because, you know, for instance, now, if Oluchi now, that is the MD of the account, let's say her password got leaked. Let me say her password got leaked. Let's say Oluchi now, password got leaked. And the person that got this password, the person is in UK. Is in UK. And the person is in UK and Oluchi is in Nigeria. So because Oluchi is in Nigeria now, she's in Nigeria. So let's not even use UK because most bad guys, they are not in UK. Most of all these hackers, they are in Indian. Let's say the person is in Indian and maybe Entra ID, because Entra ID also, it authenticates. And if Entra ID is trying to pick your sign-in logs, it picks your location also. And Entra ID now discover that, this person is in Indian. And Oluchi just signed into her system, and she was in Nigeria. No, it's not Oluchi. It will block that person. So conditional access policy works with signal. So an example of signals that conditional access policy works with is user location. So this Indian now is an example of user location. Oluchi that was in Nigeria. Now. Oluchi just traveled to UK or Indian. How fast is that? Microsoft Entra, you can use Microsoft Entra ID to configure user location policy so that you can create custom location in such a way that you already know that your company has nothing to do with Indian and they don't travel to Indian. So you can block it. You can create what we call allowed location in such a way that if somebody is trying to sign in from Nigeria, allow the person. But if somebody is trying to sign in from India, require multi-factor authentication. So these are signals. So signals can come from devices. So an example of devices is this. Let's say, for instance, now we all know that BlackBerry phones is not raining again. We have iOS, we have Android, and let's say we have BlackBerry. BlackBerry. So now we all know that BlackBerry, people are not really using BlackBerry. You can configure device policy that, okay, if somebody is trying to sign in, and you know, these are for mobile devices. So let's go for Windows devices now. So let's say we have Windows. We know we have Windows and we have Linux. Windows and we have Linux. So we can configure conditional access policy to say anytime any user is trying to sign in from a Linux system, allow access. So allowing access means the person will have access to the organization. Require MFA means if somebody is trying to sign into a device that is Linux, don't allow the person to have access. Then for user location, like the one I explained, impossible travel. Oluchi cannot just travel to Indian within 2 minutes, just like that. So Microsoft Entra ID, if you have configured named location in Microsoft Entra ID, it will block the person. Because like here now, somebody say, what if the hacker uses a VPN to change its location? Will the conditional access policy control recognize that? Yeah, Microsoft works with intelligent machine learning because all these hackers you see, Microsoft is always ahead of them. Because as a cybersecurity engineer, you have to be ahead of those hackers. So with VPN, with VPN now, even if they like they should use VPN, it will block it because it will pick the VPN device. It will flag it, it will block it. And most times, if maybe Oluchi's device is being managed, like you can even create conditional access. There are a lot of ways you can create conditional access policy. If you are managing your devices using Intune, we have what we call device compliance. Device compliance. So there are several ways you can bypass that VPN issue. So you can say if the device is compliant, let's say the device is compliant. If this device is compliant, then allow access. You can just do it that way. So the way conditional access policy is it works with signals. So example of signals is user location. User location is an example of a signal. Application. You know, there are some applications that in your organization you don't use. Maybe all those applications like all those applications that hackers use to steal users' credentials, and they don't use it in your organization. You can say if somebody is trying to sign into those applications, require multi-factor authentication, or you can even say block access so that the person will not even be able to sign in. And if the person keep trying, he will not be able to sign in. The account will get blocked, and the person will still come back to you. That and you will now ask the person, what are you trying to sign in? The person will now tell you, will now tell the person that we have enforced a policy to stop start from signing into those applications or using those applications. So that's an example of conditional access policy. So conditional access policy is used to enforce zero trust. Okpeyemi explained what zero trust is. So zero trust works on 3 principles. So the first one is, or I'm not assume breach, assume that you have been breached. Then use least privilege access. Then the last one, what was the last one again? Always verify explicitly. So verify explicitly now is where conditional access policy comes in, because conditional access policy will help you verify explicitly. It will help you verify explicitly, like, okay, this user now, is if in the allowed location? If the user is in the allowed location, oh yeah, allow. If the user is not in the allowed location, block. So assume breach is assuming that you've already been breached. So once you assume that you've already been breached, that means you have to set up every possible measure to prevent that breach from happening. Then use least privilege access, like the one we're talking about rules. Somebody that is working on AI, you're not supposed to give the person global admin role. You're supposed to use least privilege role. Global admin is the highest role in the organization. Like I was having a meeting, my boss was telling me that see global admin, like we can't give you global admin, oh, because that role no be small role. Oh. But which other role do you need to do your work? You understand? So most times they will ask you, your CISO will ask you, come, we can't give you this role. Oh. So least privilege access is the best, because if you don't use least privilege access, God forbid, if something happens to that person, the hacker will get access to the entire organization's data and all. So that is why zero trust principle is good. And you can use conditional access policy to enforce zero trust. So let's not forget, conditional access policy works with signals. An example of those signals is devices. So if, for instance, you are trying to sign in to a device, I can say if the device is Windows, require MFA for the person to sign in to the organization. If the device is Linux, block. Because I know that in the organization, people don't really use Linux. If I know nobody uses Linux, I can block access to anybody that is trying to sign into Linux in my environment. And also you can use location. You can create named location in such a way that if somebody is trying to sign in from India, you say, no, this nobody in my organization is working in India. And even if Oluchi wants to travel to India, Oluchi will tell you, HR will send mail. Oluchi is traveling to India, no, allow her. She may sign into Indian, and you have to like ensure that she's there. Because if you don't do all these things, you have to verify explicitly. Call her, do video call, do everything. If you call her number did not go, don't allow it until she pick and confirm that she's the one. Then before you allow that access. So those are just the things. Conditional access policy works with signals to make decision. Just like for instance now, let me use myself as an example. Maybe for instance now, somebody meets me and say they want to collect, they need something from me. Like I will ask them questions first. Maybe the person say he wants to borrow 500K from me. I will ask the person, what do you want to use this money from? What do you want to use this money for? I will now begin to analyze what the person you want to use the money for before I give the person my money. That is how conditional access policy work. If you want to access the company's valuable assets, at that instance now, my money is my valuable asset. Before I give you my money, I need to verify that you're not going to waste it before I give you, because me too, I can use my money for something. Instead of me to give you, it's not better I use my money to solve my own problem. So that's it. So conditional access policy will verify if that person is really the person using signals. Example of signals: usage location, devices, applications, risk. Sometimes the user might be at risk. If the user is at risk, block, require MFA. So let's go to Entra ID. Let's see how to configure conditional access policy. So let me go to the browser. So to configure conditional access policy, like I said earlier, Microsoft is a very good company that once you want to do anything, just search. It will give you the settings that you want. So if you search conditional access policy now, you will see it. So you can see it here, Microsoft Entra conditional access. So if I click on Microsoft Entra conditional access, we are going to see those things I'm talking about in play. So for Microsoft Entra conditional access policy, this is how it looks like what I was trying to explain before. So we have different settings you can specify. We have named location. So you can specify named location. We can see here ME services, provisional workers, team workers, and VPN, and so IP range. You can even configure IP range in such a way that if somebody is trying to sign in to your environment, like that person that say, what if the person use VPN to change his location? If the person's Even if the person uses VPN, if the IP is not in the IP range that is specified by the organization, it will block it. So Microsoft is always 2 ways smarter than the hacker. And that is why we that are working in organizations as security engineers, security is a very big responsibility. It's not easy because you are looking out to ensure that your organization is secured. And for your organization to be secure, you won't sleep. You have to ensure that you have set all these measures to ensure that you win the battle without fighting. As security engineers, you can't fight, because if you try to fight, you go wound. So the best thing is try to prevent what will make you fight. Work behind the scene, make search, do a lot of things that will be beneficial to your organization. So let's click on this, let's edit it. So we can see the mark as trusted location. So all these IPs you see here, if somebody is trying to sign in from this IP range, it will mark it as trusted location. You can see here that the administrator have done a lot of work. It's better you painstakingly configure a setting than you don't configure it. God forbid, they now use that loophole to enter your organization. Your job is at stake. And aside your job being at stake, your integrity is at stake. So you see, security is something that you need to ensure that you are intentional about it because you are securing companies' data and their assets. And Entra ID is majorly for securing identities. And you know identities are the weakest link. Users are the weakest point. for an hacker, because it's easier for you to enter into organization from a user, because some people live I don't care life. So because of that, you need to make sure that from behind the scene you block everything, even if they are complaining IT on are too wicked. Yes, IT wicked. Let's do it. Because if anything happens, it's still the IT that they will blame. So that's it. So if I want to create, you can see here now, these are the settings I can do. I can do IP range location, and I can also do country location. So if I click on country location now, I can decide to allow any country that I like. If, for instance, now I know, let me say, which country location you like right now? Let me say procurement location, or let me just say allowed location. So for allowed location, you can decide to specify the location you want to allow. So now you can now select the country. Maybe for instance, you work in an IT firm and your company is a Microsoft partner. You know that if your company is a Microsoft partner, automatically you people will always be traveling to US because Microsoft headquarters is in US. So you need to make sure United States is part of your allowed location. United States. So you select United States. Sometimes maybe your MD traveled to UK because she used to go and flex. She may want to go for leave. Like she wants to go and enjoy herself in UK. You specify UK. Then Dubai. Maybe for instance, you guys always go to Dubai. You know Dubai is a country people go for flexing. They won't go flex, go enjoy themselves. You can select Dubai. Then maybe there are other places, like she also goes to Ghana because Ghana is neighboring country. Select Ghana. Let's say, for instance, she always go to which other country again? South Africa. Maybe for business. You select it. So that is why as cybersecurity engineer, you need to understand the company culture. Know what is allowed in the organization. As you are creating your rules, you need to understand all these things. So now you have created allowed location here. So, mind you, we did not add Nigeria. So that's why if you are creating anything, you ensure that you painstakingly create it. Nigeria is supposed to be here because if I create a conditional access policy and I set it to allow location, if somebody is trying to sign in from Nigeria, it will block the person. So those are the things that you put into consideration. But I'm just showing us how to create allowed location. So now let's see how to create conditional access policy. Now that we're in conditional access, you click on policies. So like I always say, Microsoft is good because they always give you something to fall back on. Like they don't leave you stranded. Those of us that are Liverpool fan, you know what it means. You never walk alone. Liverpool logo is you never walk alone. So as a Liverpool fan, you will never walk alone. As a Microsoft person, you will never walk alone because there's always things that you can always fall back on to learn. So that's just it. So now, if you click on new policy, that means you want to create a new policy from scratch. Then if you say new policy from template, that means you are going to use Microsoft existing template. So now, if you click on select a template, so Augustine, don't worry, we are going to look at the issue you're having. So you say you don't have access, right? Don't worry, we'll check it. So if you look at this template, now we have secure foundation, require multi-factor authentication for admins. So meaning that if you select this particular one, if you use it, that means you want to use this template because this template enables you to set multi-factor authentication for admin. And again, like my boss will always tell me, it's good you read the description. Don't just click on something. You just see it, you just click, read it. She will always say, read on all these things. So this require multi-factor authentication for admin now say require multi-factor authentication for privileged administrative accounts to reduce risk of compromise. You can see example of privileged administrator accounts is the IT guys, the global admin, the MD, the MD. MD no be small thing, no, because the decision that MD can take, nobody can take it. So those are the things. So those are privileged accounts, but majority of the privileged accounts are admin accounts. The IT guys, they call them break glass accounts. So those accounts are break glass. Like if you have access to those accounts, you don't break glass. That's just the way those things work. Break glass account. So you can see other measure. You see zero trust. So if you click on zero trust, you will see require multi-factor authentication for admin, securing security info registration. So these are templates that you can use for zero trust, block, legacy authentication, and all. So those are the things you can use for your multi-factor to create conditional access policy. So let me click on which one should I use? Let's say require multi-factor authentication for all users. If I click on this one now and I say view, we are going to see what the policy looks like. Template, secure foundation, zero trust, remote worker. So this policy now include all users, exclude current user. So that means me that I'm creating it, it will exclude me. But all users in the organization, they will be there. So you see, even Microsoft, they are wise. They are not creating policy that will affect everybody, including the person that is logging in. You see this place, exclude current user. So that is why I was saying the other time, if you are creating anything, it's not good you add everybody. Before you add everybody, make sure what you are creating will not impact the organization. Because if it impacts the organization, your good can turn to bad. You know, there are situations like that. When you are trying to do good, it will now be bad. And when good turns to bad, it's not good. Because you will now feel somehow like, why now? Why this kind of thing? They happen to me like this. So those are the things that we need to be careful. So our good don't turn to bad. So now you can see excluded roles, directory synchronization account. So cloud apps, all apps. So what this policy means is that if any user, you see the policy applies to all users. If other users in the organization, excluding this guy, is trying to sign into cloud apps, all the cloud apps, before you grant the person access, the person must require MFA. You understand? The person must require multi-factor authentication. And we know what multi-factor authentication is. Emmanuel taught us yesterday how we can set multi-factor authentication. He taught us. He even showed us his phone. That one even surprised me that he picked his phone like this and he put his phone on his screen like this MFA. I was like, Emmanuel. That inspiration was like he taught us how we can configure multi-factor authentication. So those are the things and how we can set up MFA. So for our phone. So that's it. So if I want to use this template now, I can use it. But as it is, I want us to create a new one from scratch so that if your take home today is to even know how to create conditional access policy, you took something home. So let me come back to let me go to conditional access policy again. Yes, okay. So from here now, if you want to create policy, after you have clicked on conditional access policy, you click on new policy. So wait for it to load. So as soon as the new policy has loaded, you click on the name. So you can say require MFA for Outlook access. So if you are requiring MFA for Outlook access, this is the name of the policy, right? It's very straightforward. That means anybody that wants to access Outlook require MFA for that person to access Outlook. So conditional access policy works with signals. So the signal now that we're picking here is Outlook application. If somebody wants to sign into Outlook application, you can go for an interview, they will ask you, what is conditional access policy? I've attended an interview, they asked me what is role-based access control. So some interviews can be very easy. They can just ask you some basic questions like this. So it's good at least you like follow through and understand the concept because most interviewers, according to like Emmanuel, there was a time he was advising me then when I was trying to prepare for interviews. He would tell me that if he's attending an interview, if you ask him one question, he can spend 20 minutes to explain that question. So if you have 10 questions to ask him and the time for the interview is 10 minutes, you ask him only 2 or 3, he has passed the interview. But if they ask you a question, what is the multi-factor authentication? Multi-factor authentication is second level of verification. Thank you. The HR will be like, okay. They will begin to fire you question. But by the time they ask you what is multi-factor authentication, you begin to explain. It works when you start giving story like multi-factor authentication works like this. When a user tries to sign in with username and password, and it asks for second level authentication, and the person provides it, he signs in. How you can apply multi-factor authentication is when maybe a credential is leaked, and with MFA, it will prevent the hacker from having access. And You talk. You understand? Even the person asking you a question will be like, guy, don't do now. You understand? So those are the things that we need to, those are secrets. So that you use. Emmanuel was one that told me, and it helped me. It's working for me. During the interview, you go just the gist with them, like and don't be scared. Don't be scared. Take interview as a learning curve. If somebody is interviewing you, all the questions the person asks you, even if you did not get it, go back later and read. Because the next interview, it can still be the same thing. So that you failed the other one, you won't fail again. So it is bad when you fail yesterday, you fail the next day. It is not bad to fail, but when you fail today, you win tomorrow. You fail next tomorrow, you win next tomorrow. It is good because success sometimes can be exponential. It doesn't have to be straight, like okay, straight. If you want your success to be straight, you might become sad because you can't win you may not win every day. That's the truth. You can't be winning every day. Some days you might lose. I've written exam, I failed. I didn't kill myself because before, if I fail the exam, it would be as if something bad has happened to me. But later, I see, oh, more this life that you fail doesn't mean you don't know what you are doing. It just means that you need to try again. So those are the things. So assignments now, you can click on the users you want to assign the policy to. So you can assign the policy to users and group. So if I click on this guy now, if you select all users, you see what Microsoft is telling you. Don't lock yourself out. This policy will affect all your users. We recommend applying a policy to small set of users. First, to verify. You see, to verify. Even Microsoft is telling you, with these statements now, if you take Microsoft anywhere, they will win you. If you take them to court, they will say, but when you were creating this policy, we told you not to lock yourself out. And you still went ahead to create it. You know, some companies can say they want to take Microsoft to court because of conditional access policy that they try to set up, and users cannot do what they want to do. Microsoft will tell them that, you see all these things, they are evidence. So, sure, we told you, don't lock yourself out, but you still insisted. You understand? You can't lie because you are not the only one using conditional access policy. Everybody uses it in the world. So now, like I was explaining, it's not good you use all users. Select specific users. So you can come down here and say select users and groups. Then you select users and groups. So when you select users and groups, you can now search for group that you want to select. So let's say SSPR. Let's use this conditional access policy for SSPR group. At least we are familiar with SSPR group. So we select SSPR group and click on select. So now that we have applied this policy to SSPR group, we have selected SSPR group. So I will now come down here. Under target resources, remember, this is the name of the policy, require multi-factor authentication for Outlook access. Then the assignments, because policy is useless without assigning it to a user or a group. So I've already assigned it to SSPR group, right? So now that we're assigning it to SSPR group, we need to target the resources. Which resources are we targeting? And now for the target resources, remember, we are targeting Outlook. It's Outlook we are targeting. Then if I say all resources, it means I'm targeting all resources. That means if the person wants to sign into any resources, any online resources, it must require MFA. But you know, sometimes if you say all resources, it might go and affect the resources that your MD is assessing. And if your MD have now start complaining, omo wahala deal. So you need to make sure you understand the company culture. As you are applying all this conditional access policy, relate with your MD, relate with your CISO, relate with your manager so that they give you go ahead. So that's just it. So let's go to select resources. So for select resources now, I'm not selecting all. You can specify the resource you want to select. Then we'll go to select specific resources. So here now, I can search for Outlook. Let me see if anything looks like Outlook. So nothing looks like Outlook, right? Let me see Exchange Online. Exchange. You know, Exchange is the is what manages Outlook. So let's say Exchange Online app. An example of Exchange Online app is Outlook. Sometimes don't let things throw you off balance. If you try to do something and it doesn't work, you can always try another alternative. Like, okay, Outlook doesn't work. What about Exchange? Let's try. So Exchange Online app is still Outlook because if you even check it, Exchange Online app, which app uses Exchange Online? So you can see them. You can just go further to select everything relating to Exchange Online, but let's just leave only this Exchange Online app. So although this one looks like it's an enterprise application, so let me just come here. Let me still drill further. So what I will now do is that I will now begin to check one by one to confirm that there is nothing like Outlook here. Because we want to require MFA when somebody is trying to sign into Outlook. Just Outlook alone. We don't want to do for Azure. We don't want to do for Entra. We just want to block access to Outlook. So we see there's nothing like, so let's select that one. And you can also block for Microsoft Admin Portal. So we can also reframe it. Okay, let's say require MFA for Microsoft Admin Portals. So if I select it and say select, I can just come here and change this to require MFA for admin access. That means if anybody is trying to sign into any of the admin portal, any of this user here is trying to sign into any of the admin portals, require MFA. So now that I have specified the target resources, remember I only specified one, I didn't specify all. And the resource I specified is Microsoft Admin Portal. So if you want to do network settings, maybe you want to block using network, that is where you can now specify all those things we created. If I say yes, I will now specify the network location. If I say any network location, that means from anywhere, but which is not best practice. So it's not good you select any network location. You can say, if you say all trusted location, meaning that only the location that you set in your allowed location, that's the only location that the person should be before the person will be able to access admin access. That's the best too. Because if you say any location, the person can be in India and try, it will access. The person can be in Cotonou, try, it will access. The person can be in Namibia, try, it will access. The person can be anywhere, try, it will access. So it is not the best. So you need to have trusted location. Remember, zero trust. Don't trust anybody. Always verify. Always verify. Assume breach. Assume that you have already been breached. So just all trusted location, and you can say selected network location, but let's just leave it as all trusted network and location, which is the ones that we have already. So now let's come to conditions now. So for conditions, you can specify any condition you want. You can also specify device platform. You can specify user risks. So from here now, user risks. User risk is the level user risk level is the likelihood that the user account has been compromised. So sign-in risk is the risk level is the sign-in risk level is the likelihood that the sign-in section is compromised. So all these are things that you can set as condition. If somebody is trying to sign into let's say any of the admin center, and the person is trying to any of the admin center from all trusted location, this is the condition. The person must be using, let's say you can select, you can filter by device, you can filter by authentication flow, you can even filter by device platform, you can filter by location. So all these conditions, these are conditions that needs to be met before the person will even require, before the person will be granted access. So those are things you can configure. So let me look for the best that I can use among all these conditions here. Which one should I use? Let me see device platform. Let me see device platform has to be Windows. Remember when I was explaining the other time, we have Windows, we have Mac OS, we have Linux, we have Android. So let me see Windows device. Select, let me not say all, because if you say any device means anyone. Let me say select device and select only Windows and say okay. So once I select only Windows and say okay, I can now come here for grant access. So before I grant access, I can say require multi-factor authentication. Remember, I have two conditions here. So one of the condition is the person has to be from a trusted location. And the second condition is that the person has to be using Windows device, meaning that if the person is trying to sign into Outlook, is trying to sign into any of the admin app from their phone, it will not work. Because if you're trying to sign in using Android, it will block you because you are not using a Windows device. So you're not using a Windows laptop, it will block you. So here now we can see require multi-factor authentication. So you see what Microsoft is telling you, require testing this new require multi-factor authentication strength. So you can require multi-factor authentication. Some people can even say require device to be marked as compliant. So this is where Intune comes in. So in Intune, you can create device compliance policy in such a way that your device, if your device is being managed by Microsoft Intune, it will specify that if the device is compliant or the device is not compliant. So after that, you select, then you can create the policy. So once you can, if you want to create policy, you can set it in reports only. So it is best practice. You create conditional access policy in reports only for like 2 weeks. You verify, you look at the reports before you turn it on. Because if you just turn it on without verifying, it's not good. So as security engineers, you have to be very careful, be extra careful, because remember, people are always looking for the downfall of security people so that they will laugh. So you need to always know that people are looking at the security engineers. So ensure that you keep things like the best way it should be without any issue. So that's just it. So I won't create this policy because I'm just showing us how to create conditional access policy. I'll just close it. So that's all for conditional access policy. So let's see the next lab. So the next lab now is talking about privilege identity management. So I will just explain what privilege identity management is, then I'll show us how privilege identity management work. So let me go to visual, although we have little time. So the way privilege identity management work is more or less like, maybe for instance now, you have multiple admins. Let's say you have these people, these are admins, all these guys are working, all of them are all working. You understand? They are all in the organization. They are all working in the organization. Let me say this person is Abigail. Let me say this person is Uche. Let me see this person is let's say, let me check one of the names. Let me say this person is Asonye. Sonye. Then let's say this person is Peace. Peace. So this is the way privilege identity management work. So we're talking about PIM, privilege identity management. Privilege identity. So this is the way privilege identity management work. Privilege identity management. So now we have the manager here. Let me say the manager is Emmanuel. Let me say Emmanuel is the manager. Emmanuel. Emmanuel is the manager here. This guy here, let me say this Abigail she does governance. She does risk and compliance. Risk and compliance. So Abigail is a risk and compliance expert. Then this other person, Uche is into SOC. She's a SOC analyst. SOC analyst. Then Asonye is into identity. This one now is an identity and IAM administrator. IAM admin. Then let's say this guy, this piece now. She's a, let's say she's very good with Exchange Online. Exchange Online. Okay. So now, for Peace to be able to do her work well as an Exchange Online person, you need to assign her Exchange administrator role. Exchange admin. Then for Asonye to be able to do his work well, you need to assign him Entra admin role. Entra admin. Then for Uche, who is a SOC analyst, to do her work well, you need to assign her security admin. So all these admin, they will ask you all these things in interview. Can you give me an example of admin roles? I've been asked this kind of question before. So then this one now will now be Purview administrator. I remember Okoyemi took his time to explain Purview. Purview admin. Purview administrator. So this Purview administrator now, the way Purview administrator work, it manages compliance, GRC. So now all these guys, they are working in the organization, but I don't want to just give them this role just like that. I want them to be able to use this role when they want to use it, just in time. So the way this one works, it works with just in time. Just in time, like when you need it, just in time. So when you need the role, you'll be given. So instead of, let me use this example now. Let's say you have a key, the key of your house. You're always taking the key everywhere you are going to. The chances of that key to be lost is very high. But if you keep the key somewhere, anytime you come, you just go there and pick it. It may not lose because you are keeping it. So if, for instance, Peace is an exchange admin person, and this exchange admin administrator role, this role here is assigned to her permanently, it's not the best. Because God forbid, if something happened to, that is why I said as a cybersecurity engineer, you need to think like a thief. Because you need to think that if this thing happen, what will happen? So that is why with privileged identity management, you can assign administrator role to users based on their need when they need it. Not that this person doesn't need it. If you're an exchange admin, you don't need exchange administrator role for 24 hours. Sometimes you just need it for like let's say like 10 minutes or 20 minutes just to assign neighbors license. If you're a security admin, just to go to security admin center, do what you want to do and all. So with privileged identity management, you can give rights to users when they need it at the moment. So instead of me to just assign the security administrator role to Uche, I can just use PIM to assign it to her. That when she need it, she will request for the role, then I will approve it as her manager. So that's just the way it is. So let's go to Entra ID. I think this is the last we'll do for today. Then we'll go to question and answer. So then I'll just touch security admin center and other admin center just to show us the application of those admin centers. So let me come to the tab here. So let me go to privilege identity management. So you can search for privilege. So if you search for privilege, it will take you to privilege identity management. So if I click on privilege identity management now, it will take me there. So you see the way privilege identity management work. This one I clicked on is not privilege identity management too. Let me do it from here. Okay, this is privilege identity management. So from here now you can see my rules. If for instance I have rules that are assigned to me, if I click on my rules, I will see all the rules here, all the rules that I can request access for. So that's just the way privilege identity management work. Then when you see the rule, you can like maybe request access. But let me walk us through how we can configure it. So if you click on manage here, so we are going to see all the rows load. So once it loads, we'll see the settings, how we can set privilege identity management and assign it to a group so that those users using it can set it. So let's come down. So we see Exchange Administrator here. Let's use Exchange Administrator. So you see this Exchange Administrator group, no assignment has been given to this group. So I can click here and add assignments. So you can select a user. So let me select Adele. Select Adele. So, but most times it is not good to select a user. It's good to select a group. So you would have created a group called Exchange Administrator Users so that everybody in that group will be the users that you need Exchange Administrator license. Then we come to settings. So from setting here, you can see eligible. You can see active. So one thing you need to do is to uncheck this Because if you check this, that means the person will be permanently eligible. So you uncheck this, then you leave these settings like this. Then the start time now, you can select yesterday. Then this one, you can select, let's say let's put today. But I just want something that will be okay. So the end time now, we can just leave it this way. So let's click on assign. So now back to settings. This is where we will now do the main work to configure the privilege identity management. Here, you can see on activation, Azure MFA. So if this person wants to activate this privilege identity management role, that means the person must require MFA. That one is certain. If Adele, that has been added to the SC administrator group, want to access Exchange admin, she must use MFA. This is also always verify. Because if I say don't require MFA now, that means she can just assign the role to herself and get access. So the hours, 8 hours, you can even reduce this hour to something less. You can reduce it to 4 hours or 3, because what will she be doing that she'll be working for 8 hours? You will look at it, 8 hours is too much. I no go agree. It should be 2.5. Then require justification on activation. That means if Adele wants to assign multi-factor authentication, she must provide justification. Then you can also require approval to activate. So this require approval to activate means that somebody must approve before she will be able to activate the role. But this one can cause administration overhead, because if I'm the manager, which you want to approve, I must approve. This one I want to approve, I might get tired. Like, I beg, I don't tire. So that is why sometimes it's good you just say require justification and activation, so that if the person can provide justification, the person should just get access. So that's just the way it works. So after next, you click on assignments. Then after assignments, you can specify how long you want it to be. You can require, so all these things, the settings you specify here, you have to sit with your top management staffs and the CISO, so that you guys will decide on the allow permanent eligibility. But basically, privilege identity management is to assign permissions to admin to perform specific actions for specific period of time. We can see the period of time here, just 2.5 hours. That is what this guy have to do what he wants to do. Once it's over 2.5 hours, the person won't have access to the role again. The person will now go and request access again, which is the best. Because if you just give people access like that, they can do and undo. So those are the things. So this is for privilege identity management, which is good. So now we have touched privilege identity management. So we'll just touch Microsoft Defender, and Microsoft Purview briefly before we close for the day. So now let's go to cmd.mx. So now we're already in Microsoft 365 Security Admin Center. We can see here, get your SIM and SDR in one place. So Microsoft is trying to bring Microsoft Sentinel and SDR in Microsoft Defender. So now, if you come to Microsoft Defender Admin, this Microsoft Defender Admin Center, let me change it to dark mode. So this is Microsoft Security Admin Center. So if you click on Exposure Management, it will show you the attack surface. So attack surface is the areas that hackers can easily penetrate into your organization. So let's look at the attack parts. Let's see. So this is Microsoft Security Admin Center. So we can see under the attack surface, you can be attacked from your devices, from your identities, and from the applications. So basically, identities are users. So these are attack paths. So this is Microsoft Security Admin Center. From this Microsoft Security Admin Center, and this is where you manage the security of your organization. This is where you manage it, basically. So Microsoft Entra ID is to manage identity. So anything antivirus, SDR, Sentinel, Microsoft Defender for Cloud, those things, you manage them here. The only thing you manage in Microsoft Entra ID is identity and identity security. But here, this is where you manage antivirus and all. So from here now, you can see the attack surface. So this is the tenant. This is the tenant ID. These are the devices. So an hacker can attack the environment through the devices, through the identities, and through the cloud apps. So if we come to exposure insights, so this exposure insight now, we give you insights based on initiatives. So we have different initiatives. We have CIS benchmark. So CIS benchmark now, from here, they are set of security assessment developed by Center of Internet Security. It provides prescriptive guidance for establishing a secure baseline. So all these initiatives helps you to know if your organization security is actually standard or if it's not standard. So as a security engineer, you need to make research if your organization is actually using the right benchmark, if they are actually on track. So those are what you do. So anything security like standards and the likes, you manage them from Microsoft Security Admin Center. If you are a SOC analyst, some people say they want to be able to manage SOC. So if you want to manage SOC, this will be your home for managing SOC. So if you come to metrics, you are going to see the metrics and how improving it will affect your assets. So here now we can see them. If you come here, you can see the risks. This one now, the weight is low, the weight is high. So most times you focus on the high because the low, it means that that one don't really get much things, like it won't really affect you that much. But you see those high, you need to focus on them. Like this one now, identifying sensitive business data missing best practice. So meaning that there are some sensitive business data that are missing best practice. So as a SOC analyst, you need to come and analyze what are these business data. You click on it, it will show you. Okay, Azure relational database without due redundant backup enabled. So that means there are relational database in this environment that doesn't have due redundant backup enabled. So as a security analyst, you already have work. Okay, you will now write to the Azure team that how many relational database do they have? Then you will tell them that it's not due redundant, it doesn't have due redundant backup. So those are the ways you check. You can see the security recommendations. So you can see the three. Due redundant backup should be enabled for Azure database for MariaDB. Due redundant backup should be enabled for Azure database for Postgres SQL. So these are how you check your organization if they're actually following the required benchmark. So affected resources. Here now we don't have any affected assets, meaning that none of our database we don't even have any database that has this deficiency. So you check. So if we come to recommendations now, that is where you will now see all the recommendations combined, everything combined. You can see them not compliant. So block OneDrive for business sync from unmanaged device, not compliant, meaning that some of our devices sync from unmanaged devices, which is not good. If your users are syncing their files to an unmanaged device, it's very risky because that device is not compliant, it is not managed. So why will you be allowing your users to sync their business data to an unmanaged devices? So you can see not compliant. So your organization is not compliant with this. You need to ensure that you set it. So if you click on it now, Microsoft will even give you steps. That's why I told you that if you're using Microsoft, you don't work alone. They always give you guide. So if you come to recommendation step, they will tell you, navigate to Microsoft 365 admin portal. So as a security admin person, so you'll be checking all these things. If, for instance, you are not the one managing SharePoint, you will tell the SharePoint person that the person should go and check this and enable it. That is why during meetings, most times as security engineers, all these things you have identified, you put them on a PowerPoint and begin to present during your meetings so that your CISO will now approve. Okay, let's do this one. Let's not do this one. Let's do this. This one can wait. This one will affect business. This one will not affect business. That's just what you will be doing most times. Attending to clients, checking some of all those things. That's just it. Then that's for recommendations. Then if you click on events, this will show you events, just like event viewer in Active Directory shows you the events of what's happening in the environment. This one also does same. So now for secure score, if you click on secure score, it will show you your company secure score. So this is not my organization. This is just a Microsoft Learn account. So my own is not 29 because if my own is 29, it means I'm not doing well. it means I'm not doing well. But this is just a lab environment. It's not my environment. I'm just using it to explain. So it's not me. So you can see all the recommended actions. So as security engineers, all these things needs to be at the back of your fingertips. Like here now, ensure multi-factor authentication is enabled for all users. So for you to do this, is conditional access policy. If you come to the implementation and you see them, you need to follow the step, perform it using conditional access policy side by side. So those are the things that you need to confirm. So so it will give you the recommendation and also the implementation steps. And you can create an action plan. You can say if it's completed, you can specify that it has been completed. If you say it has been completed, that means the AI will confirm that you have done it. If you say planned, that means you plan to do it. You write an action plan. You see how Microsoft is helping you. How Microsoft is helping you to ensure that you are doing your job well as a SOC analyst. So you close this guy. So once you are done with this attack surface, so we have looked at attack surface, we have looked at exposure insight. So exposure insight shows you the areas of your organization that is exposed. So you work on it. So identity and response. So this is where you check for incidents and alerts. So if you click on alerts now, alert shows you all the like if there are events of things that happen in your organization, you will see all of them. But here there's no alert, but at the beginning there's alert, you will see them. So incidents now is the combination of multiple alerts. Multiple alert forms an incident. Let's not forget when you have multiple alerts, like alert 1, alert 2, alert 3, when it's now becoming a normal, it now forms an incident. So multiple alert forms an incident. So when we come to hunting, so hunting now, this is where the work is. You need to be writing KQL to use KQL to fight threat. You can write KQL to, okay, identify this. So to write KQL, you can use the schema here to analyze. You can use schema. So you can write Custo query language. So with time, you probably understand this because this is just a fundamental. I'm just showing you how the portal looks like so that by the time we finish identity and access, when we get to SOC during the second quarter of next year, at least you people will understand all these things better. So we have custom detection rule. You can create it. So now, the one I want to show us is this threat intelligence now. You can also use it. So for assets, so we have devices. So these devices now, there will be no devices here, but you can onboard devices to Microsoft Defender. You can onboard devices to Microsoft Defender so that you can manage those devices using Microsoft Defender endpoints, Microsoft Defender antivirus. So that's just it. So had it been have onboarded any device now, you will see it here. The device will show here as devices that has been onboarded. So if I click on identities here now, let's see. So you see all the identities. You can see their accounts. You can see everything. You can see all of them, user, you can see service. So security portal helps you. So if this account is a risky account now, or there's threats associated with the account, you will see it here. It will show you. Then if you click on applications, it will show you all the applications in your environment. So you click on done, everything will just set. So this is Microsoft Sentinel, like I was explaining the other time. So Microsoft is trying to bring Microsoft Sentinel to Microsoft Defender. Formerly, all these things you see here, you can manage them from Microsoft Azure. But now, Microsoft is bringing them to Microsoft Defender so that everything should be managed in one place. Instead of you want to do Sentinel, you go to Azure, you want to do this, you come here. They want you to manage everything in one portal. So now, Content Hub, normally, you use Content Hub to ingest data, to add data repository. So those are just there. So now let's look at email and collaboration. So this email and collaboration now, this is where you configure rules like anti-malware, anti-spam, tenant allowed block list, and the likes. So if we click on overview, you are going to see the overview, you are going to see some cards. So all these are cards. These things you see here, they are cards. You can see threat detection, 4 threat detection. It's already telling you that it has detected 4 threats. So you see how you can use Microsoft Defender antivirus to fight threats. You can use it to fight threats if you have created the policies. But if you don't create the policies, it won't fight any threat. You need to create the policies so that it can do its work well. So if you come to investigations, you can see the investigation that is happening. So here now, there's no investigation data. So if I really want to configure this environment, you need to add devices. So those devices, you can run a simulation attack on those devices so that with those simulation attack, you can check to confirm that all these things are there. So you can see all emails. So for all emails now, you can check, okay, this person, Adele, has Exchange Administrator. Remember, we added Adele to our Exchange Administrator. You can see how all these things work. It has picked its pin. Adele has the Exchange Administrator role. So you see how events work. So it shows everything. Like if, for instance, now it will flag it if it is not allowed. So that's how it works. You can see everything. Everything will be showing here. You'll be seeing all the alert, everything you need to know. If a phishing email comes into the organization, you will see it. If you want to identify phishing email, you can filter. You can say equals, then you select phishing email. So you see, if you select malware here now, you will see if there's any malware that has been sent to the organization, no data. If you select fish, if there's any phishing email, you will see it. So that's just it. So if you come to review now, from this review, you can see if you have users that are like from review now. If you click on this quarantine, so sometimes with Microsoft Defender, you can configure anti-spam policy and use content delivery in such a way that if an email contain any file that is seen as malware, it should remove the file and deliver the email. So most of those things will be in the quarantine. So Adibin, this is the production environment now. You will see a lot of emails here. You can release if it is false positive. You can check if it is false positive, you release, you allow, you do this, you do that. So that's just the way this one work. Quarantine. So if I come back to review now, you can see restricted entities. So these restricted entities now, users that are here are users that has been blocked. That has been blocked from sending emails. You know, sometimes some users can be sending multiple emails, like emails just back and forth, back, 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 back. And you know, Microsoft will be like, what's happening? What's happening? So it can block the user. Then the user will now reach out to you. I'm trying to send an email and they see you have been blocked by your admin. You will now confirm if the user is trying to send unwanted emails or bulk too many bulk emails. You verify that. So that's the for review. So now, if you want to create policy, so let's not forget under email and collaboration, this is where Microsoft Defender for Office 365 comes in. So if you click on policy and rules, under policy and rules, we have threat policy, we have alert policy. So if you click on threat policies, that is where you will see anti-malware, anti-phishing, anti-spam, safe attachment, safe link, tenant allow block list. So if you check this tenant allow block list now, it contains tenant that you want to block from maybe sending emails to your organization and the ones that you want to allow. So if you click on add, you can say block. If you say block, you can say you want to block, let's say Arizona, arizona.com. You want to block them from sending email to your organization. You can say never, expire never, and you say add. Once you say add, automatically anybody that is trying to send email from arizona.com, it will block the person. That is how you block domains. Maybe if those domains has been known to send phishing email to your organization, you can block them so that if anybody is trying to send phishing email from that domain, it should block it. So you can also create anti-malware policy. So if you click on anti-malware policy now, you can create. Here now, there is just this default anti-malware policy. You can edit it to see what it looks like. Enable the common attachment filter on. Enable 0-hour auto purge for malware on. Notify admin about undeliverable message from internal sender. You see this one is off. Notify admin about undeliverable message from external sender off. Customize notification. So you can see all these things. So this is an anti-malware policy. You can edit it if you want to. If maybe for instance you want to when this so now these are the attachment filter that you want to be blocking. So any attachment filter that contains .apk.app. That is why sometimes if you are trying to send an email to an organization and the email has .apk, you can receive an NDR that this email was blocked because of the extension you are using. So What happens? Reject the message with a non-delivery recipient, or you can say quarantine. But most times, organizations use quarantine because if you say quarantine, it means that the message will go to that quarantine folder I showed you earlier. Then the admin will now go there and review it. Is this email supposed to deliver? If it's supposed to deliver, he releases it. Why? There's no need of keeping something that is safe. It's only when you find out that it is not safe that you delete it or you send it to Microsoft for review and investigation. So those are just the things that you can configure. So I'm not going to save it. So if you go to anti-phishing policy now, you're going to see the same configuration and setting that is there. So phishing is more or less like when somebody is trying to impersonate another person. So we can see here, somebody can try to impersonate your CEO, your MD, your CISO. They can try to impersonate them. So you can configure phishing. Here now, trusted impersonated domain off, neighbors intelligence on, spoof intelligence on. So all these are default things that you can set. So that's just where we are going to stop for today. This is where we're going to stop for today. So threat policy is what you use to manage Microsoft Defender for Office 365, which is under the email and collaboration. So we'll go, if you use presets, so presets security configuration. So this is now what most organizations are using. Some of them enforce standard protection for all their users. Then they enforce strict protection for their leaders, like the MD and the CEO. So this strict protection is more tighter. It gives you a tighter control over box senders. So all these things are good. But remember, before you configure all these things, make sure you liaise with your management and they give you the go ahead. Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate you all for listening. And this brings the end of our section. So if you have any question, kindly raise your hand so where we give you the options to ask your question. So we have Uchechi UC. Are you ready for your question? Uchechi. Okay. Let me allow their mic. Allow mic. Allow mic. So I've allowed your mic, Osage Brown and Uchechi, so that you can ask your question. Uchechi Kurada. So ask
Okay,
your
sir.
question.
Thank you for the thank you, sir, for the class. Thank you, sir. So I want to know, like, concerning this multi this thing.
Your voice is breaking. Concerning what?
I mean, concerning multi-factor authentication, there was, I don't know, I was having network issue there. I didn't just get what happened there. I didn't get what you did there.
Okay. So concerning multi-factor
Yeah,
authentication.
authentication.